The reviews are in, and we're going to tell you what they are. He's Todd Vandenberg, I'm Rob Steele, and neither of us are John Krasinski. I just thought I'd point that out, because, spelling. Now, there have been a lot of rumors, apparently, this week that John Krasinski will be playing the part of Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic, in the forthcoming Fantastic Four movie. And you know what? I kind of like it, because if you get rid of the beard that he seems to not have, and that's going to be a recurring theme. Oh, look, the beard has disappeared in this show. And no, I'm not referring to his wife, Emily Blunt, who would make a great Sue Storm. I think John Krasinski looks like Reed Richards anyway.
I agree. And the best part of the story is?
Oh, what? They're already married and we don't have to deal with that storyline?
The best part of the story is he's into it. He's publicly stated. Yeah, he's publicly said it's like, hey, if this is true, if you're really considering me, count me in. Because I don't remember if we talked about it on the show, but he has talked about this several times, Krasinski, not you or a beard, that he auditioned for the role of Captain America the first time around. This is obviously close to a decade ago. And he thought, cool.
Well, that'll be the second time around, because it was 1990s Captain America films. He was
that's a guy
he would have been 11.
That's a guy wearing a motorcycle helmet. That doesn't count. Yeah. So he's thinking, this is great. I'm good to go. This is going to be terrific. And Chris Hemsworth happens to walk by. And he takes a look at this just walking muscle mass that is Chris Hemsworth. And he realizes, nope, I am not going to get cast in this movie. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And the fact that he thinks the story is funny tells you a lot about Krasinski, because that's awesome. But yeah, I agree he would be terrific because he does have the acting chops to play a character well. He has the look. He can carry off brainy easily because he is relatively bright anyway. So, and bonus, Emily Blunt would be a fantastic Sue Storm. So, and they have great on-stream chemistry. So that would be half of its cast. Only downfall, it's not a downfall. Only problem is we're going to have to wait like 4 or 5 years for it probably. So that would suck, but they'll still be ready. So man, I hope that's true. That would be awesome.
And actually that reminded me, there is somewhat related news to this from Liam Neeson, who announced this week that he is not going to be Galactus because he doesn't want to be in any more superhero movies. Therefore, in my mind, he's a lock and has already been paid, signed the contract. I think that would work.
I totally think that would work. That would be excellent. He would make a fine Galactus, especially since, Marvel won't screw it up like Fox did. They're not going to make him some cloud.
Well, in fairness, which is something I don't like to give to Fox News because they don't give it back to us. They were going for the Ultimates storyline, which was a separate Marvel universe. It's the one over there, not the one we're used to, where Galactus was a cloud, and it wasn't the Silver Surfer that was his herald. It was Vision, and you kind of go, this is really screwed up, and it didn't go over well, and the Ultimate storyline was dropped.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are you giving them credit for actually thinking that they realize there's such a thing as the Ultimates line, or is this accurate?
That is supposedly accurate.
Aha! Supposedly, which means it's BS. Which means it's BS because they have no knowledge of they barely have knowledge of the comics, as you can tell. Because
absolutely,
yeah, they're just idiots. And thank God they're gone. Yay!
Speaking of being gone, Bob Iger stepped down as head of Disney's whatever he was in charge. He was in charge of everything, wasn't he?
He was. He was the man. He was the CEO.
So. Oh no, he retired and everything's going to fall apart. No, everything's going to stay the same because it's Disney. That's what they do. Strange news from a Disney tangentially related franchise in that Ryan Johnson or whatever you want to call him was quoted this week as saying that a new thing for movies is that they're allowed to use cell phones, but Apple has said that villains are not allowed to use iPhones. So if you see a character in a movie using an iPhone, you know he can't be a bad guy.
I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be enforceable. I kind of think that...
I don't think it would be.
I mean, considering I bet there are more than a few criminals that actually have iPhones. Is Apple going after them?
I
kind of doubt it. So how arrogant is that?
I don't pay that much attention to me, that is a minute detail in a movie.
Right.
And I don't pay attention to the minute details the first time I watch a movie.
That makes me really glad that I haven't purchased an Apple product in about 10 years because I didn't like their insular. I get it, although it no longer works to keep them protected from viruses. But I didn't like the culture anyway, and it makes me hate it even more now.
Yeah,
like, oh, villains can't use our products because we're a force for good. Is like, really? Pay your factory workers like living wages. Try that. What a bunch of crap.
I'll agree.
Wow.
Just because they're that big, they're not the Hulk in the big invincible creature type area, which is my segue to the She-Hulk news that came out this week.
Woo!
Now, I'm going to report this as it was originally reported, which is, I'll go ahead and tell you this, it's wrong as it was originally reported, because the headline read, and I'll quote, William Hurt cast as She-Hulk in Disney Plus She-Hulk.
That's beautiful.
What they meant to say was that he is coming back as the character Colonel or General Thunderbolt Ross, and he will eventually become the Red Hulk in the Disney Plus She-Hulk series. William Hurt is not doing a gender swap to play She-Hulk in this series. At least I really hope not.
Yeah, I don't really see a feminine side in William Hurt these days.
It's the mustache.
Although, yeah, he was in the Spider thing, which I can't remember the title, which was back in the 80s, which is a really, really good movie. But however, yeah, he's not playing She-Hulk.
He's not playing She-Hulk. That headline was up for about half an hour before the internet exploded. So if you were wondering what happened on Thursday of last week, that was it. William Hurt as She-Hulk. That would require some amazing visual effects, which leads me into the movie I'm reviewing this week.
Before you get to it, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, 1985. I couldn't recall the title, so yeah.
There we go.
Anyway, but no, he's not going to be reprising any part of that role.
No.
Jeez.
Yeah, visual effects. The movie. Now, if you've listened to this show before, you're going to go, Rob, didn't Todd already review this movie? And I'll say yes. Yes, he did, and he reviewed it wrong. Yeah, the movie in question is Ad Astra, and damn, okay, the movie has won multiple awards for best visual effects, and I'll give it that it had some very pretty visual effects. Look, we're in space, and we stole this footage from the Hubble telescope. Yeah, that's gonna look pretty. But they did leave out a few things, like, I don't know, when they went to the moon or to Mars, did they forget that there's no real gravity on these on these places? Because everyone was walking around normally, but they don't have any kind of anti-gravity devices yet. They mentioned that at one point. There's an effect you forgot. I'm just saying. That's an easy one. Anyway, the movie Ad Astra stars Brad Pitt as Stoic Man, Tommy Lee Jones as father of Stoic Man, and Liv Tyler as woman who likes to enter a room with a J.J. Abrams lens flare. I'm not sure if that's a special effect or something she just, walks around with. Anyway, I've been told from numerous people that this is one of Brad Pitt's best performances. And I'll admit, I am not the biggest follower of Brad Pitt. But seriously, is this one of his best performances? Because he made Kristen Stewart's performance in Twilight look positively animated. Just entirely too stoic. No emotion. But, okay, about the movie itself, it was billed as being like 2001 without Hal. which is kind of like Star Wars without Darth Vader, or 101 Dalmatians without Cruella de Vil, or maybe even The Wizard of Oz without the Land of Oz. You kind of have to have one, and if you have one, you got to have the other. All right, storyline. Spoilers coming. You don't need to see this movie. It's kind of boring. I mean, okay, spoilers. Tommy Lee Jones has left Earth for a project near Neptune, and now energy bursts are coming from there, disrupting life in the entire solar system. Well, Tommy Lee Jones is there. He must have done it. Hey, Brad Pitt, you're his son. You go talk to him. That'll make him stop. No. They send Brad Pitt to Mars and decide he's unfit for duty almost immediately because he stopped reading the pre-written script for him and tried using a personal touch. All right. The pre-written script was, this is from Roy, son of Tommy Lee Jones. Hey, Tommy Lee Jones, it's your son, Roy. Son of a... How do you not figure... Who wrote that? Someone had to... And it sounds government. I have to admit it does. But no. Using a personal touch wouldn't make sense. Then you might, here's a shock, get through to him. But you didn't. So they pulled him from the mission, except this is a Brad Pitt movie, so he goes on the mission anyway. Finds his dad, throws him into space, blows up the station, and goes home. Yeah, there's your, in a nutshell. But, and this is a baby got back sized but, the movie ends with him back on Earth in a bar, drinking while Lens Flare Girl walks in. No. Did anyone who watched this movie not realize that earlier he was AWOL, stole the spaceship, and killed the entire crew? I don't care if it was accidental or not. How the hell is he not in jail for this? Oh, that's right. He must be a Republican. That's all I can come up with. There's no other excuse for this. So, yeah, the Adventures of Stoic Man. Through the whole thing, no emotion except for one small bit when he kills his father, throws him into space, at his own request, I might add. Brad Pitt yells, "No! Okay, I'm fine. Let's go back to the movie. Stoic Man has returned." I mean, no emotion completely. Here's another example. Between the moon and Mars, there was an SOS on a space station conducting experiments on animals. Well, Brad Pitt, says the captain of the ship he's on, we should go investigate. And Brad Pitt says, I really don't want to, but okay, fine. And on this space station, they're attacked by rabid space baboons. No emotion at all. None. Nothing there. The captain is having his neck ripped out by a space baboon. Nothing. I mean, the movie got almost exciting for a moment, but thank God Stoic Man was there to prevent it from happening. Now, the movie overall is supposed to be a big emotional thing about repairing the relationship between a father and a son. But I have to give a rat's ass about one of them before I care about that kind of story, and I don't. Neither will you, likely. It's a fairly useless film. There is nothing likable about either of them. But Rob, Brad Pitt is cute. Yeah, and? Which reminds me, there's another visual effects snafu. Brad Pitt left Earth clean-shaven. He left the moon clean-shaven. He left Mars clean-shaven, got to Neptune clean-shaven, goes back to Earth, he looks like fucking Santa Claus. What? Oh, he forgot how to use a razor between Neptune and Earth on the way home. What? Did continuity? Anyone? Oh, by the way, and Todd, you can back me up on this. Did you notice that the Earth is still screwed at the end of this storyline? Because the bursts, as we find from Tommy Lee Jones, the ones that are coming from Neptune and screwing up the whole system, came from a nuclear explosion. And how did they fix it? With another nuclear explosion. Congratulations, you've just made it worse. I can't see how critics liked this movie. I really can't. I would rather watch Ed's Astras, a movie I'm writing about British comedians Ed Byrne and Ed Gamble racing across Birmingham in matching Vauxhall Astra diesels. There has to be more excitement in that trip. I mean, Ad Astra, to me, is the equivalent of watching the filling of a Twinkie. It's light on substance, it's very white, and there is nothing of any real value to it. I cannot like Ad Astra. I do not like Ed Astra, Stam I am.
This is why I like doing this show, because obviously we have two very huge differences of opinion, because I love this movie. It's one of the best movies last year.
Rabid space baboons could not elicit an emotion from him.
Apparently Rob saw the undirector's cut, because there was lots of emotion from Brad Pitt. There's one long scene when he's contemplating the whole relationship where he breaks down and cries, but it might have been too subtle. So,
okay, I'll admit, yes, he was there and he cried.
Wait, hang on a minute. There was emotion.
No, there wasn't emotion. It just looked like water was falling from his eyes. He cried stoically.
That's because that's who he is. But people actually can do that. Anyway. I'll just remind our listeners and not viewers that this is also the man who thought Mad Max Fury Road was not exciting. So
the concepts were good. They were just not as close together as I would have liked them.
Well, I'm bringing up, and I really hope that you watch this movie.
I don't know yet.
That I'm about to review, and in a few months that you'll say you will love this.
I'll see what I can do.
There's no way on earth you'll ever say you love this movie. So I'm talking about, and by the way, just to make it clear, I think you're wrong, but I completely value your opinion and decision, because that's exactly what it is. It's not opinion. It is opinion. It is opinion. It's not fact. Opinion. I think it's a great movie. You think it's a terrible, you think it's a bad movie, if not terrible.
It's not as terrible as some movies I've seen.
And both opinions are equally valid, or Rob's is probably a little more valid than mine. Anyway, I'm talking about I'm talking about a movie which I can't imagine many people at all thinking was a good movie. It's called The Green Inferno. Now, this came out a few years ago. It was actually produced and wrapped in 2013 and wasn't released in the U.S. until 2015. And yeah, this is a U.S. production. It just took a while for them to decide, do we really want to release this or not? So,
just to throw some confusion into this, I looked it up, and apparently it was also released in 2014 in Chile.
Yeah, which is where it was filmed.
Oh, of course.
So this is an Eli Roth film. Saw, that guy. So this is another example of the torture porn subgenre of horror films, which Saw gets thrown into that a lot, but Saw is a mystery thriller with horrific elements. Saw is a cool movie. Almost none of the movies after it particularly are, because we've eliminated the whole concept of what's happening, and it's just about, let's have a parade of interesting ways to torture people and kill them. So, on to The Green Inferno. The premise is some college kids go down to the rainforests of the Amazon, so it's not set in Chile, even though it's there, filmed there, because they want to save a tribe from having their part of the forest destroyed for development. Yay! So they head down there. They chain themselves onto bulldozers and stuff to stop the construction crew. They have a face-off. Girl realizes that she was only a pawn in this because she's the daughter of a high-ranking United Nations person, and she's mad because the dude who was organizing this was willing to just have her killed because they were streaming this because they have satellites there, so everything's being uploaded, live link, etc., etc. So now she realizes, okay, he's really kind of shallow. Well, it turns out he's more shallow than that. This is all just a publicity stunt, and they're really doing it to get payoffs. Interesting, because it doesn't stop anything, obviously. Once they're gone, then the bulldozers are moving, and they can continue to plow down the forest. They crash on their way home into the forest and are taken prisoner by the tribe they're trying to save. Would have been good if someone had done some research and realized that, this particular tribe practices cannibalism. Yay! So their little paradise is not quite a paradise. And there is a really horrific scene where they dismember a guy while he's alive And then they put his body parts into a nice, like clay oven and bake him. And then they're like pulling off the skin, and kids are wearing pieces of his charred skin, and they're munching away on feet and things like that. Lovely.
Uh-huh.
That's not my problem with this movie. My problem with this movie is that it's just this unrelenting series of torture things and sadistic killings and et cetera, et cetera. And you have no anchor whatsoever because none of the people are that interesting, which is almost a crime because they spent 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes of this film, and it's, I think, an hour and 40 minutes. So they spent 45 minutes in exposition, setting up, building the characters, and they did zero character development, even though they spent 45 minutes of exposition of getting to know who they are. Oh, and she sees these guys on campus, and they're protesting, and then she gets interested, and she goes to a meeting, and she gets thrown out for asking kind of a quippy question, and then she gets sucked into it anyway, because then the guy finds out, as you find out later, that she is the daughter, and he'll think, oh, this would be a good pawn for me. So, yeah, 45 minutes of time, which is absolutely wasted because there is no character development that they couldn't have done in 5 minutes and gotten you to the damn jungle. And then finally, when the damn movie actually starts, you have this reprehensible series of torture, which it's meaningless because you don't care about these characters. Absolutely not. And they try to escape, and then they escape, and then two of them manage to escape, even though for some reason nobody is paying attention. Well, the reason allegedly is because they slipped pot into a dude's corpse, and they knew they were going to smoke him, so that all the villagers would get high from this, I don't know, looked like about 3 ounces of pot that was burned in a stove. So the smoke from this oven got an entire village of people, like 300 people, high. So high they didn't pay attention to what was going on, and didn't get the kids high. Didn't get the little Scooby-Doo troop high. So they managed to escape. Turns out the guy who's organized on this is a real SOB because he manages to screw people over, and he stops one person from escaping because, if you escape, then they're going to cook me. So, yeah, they're going to cook you instead. Which, of course, they do, because that's how the movie works. This movie is just such an utter piece of crap. 45 minutes of exposition to get to something that most people wouldn't want to see. So if you are into torture porn movies, you're going to be pissed off because they wasted almost an hour of your life getting to the good stuff. And if you find this kind of crap abhorrent, I mean, it has its place if there's any kind of a context, like there's good guys, there's bad guys, there's characters that you care about, like you were just talking about with Ed Astra. You don't care about any of these people. They're absolutely cardboard. The sad thing is the actors are actually pretty good. Given what they have to work with, they do a good job of it. It's just a shame they were trapped in the Green Inferno and didn't have anything to do other than just scream. The concept, this showed up, the reason I watched this is because this has showed up on a few best horror movies of the decade list. I guess they did that so they wouldn't have to pigeonhole it in 2013, 14, or 15.
Right.
Happily, this was the subject of 2 lawsuits by 2 different companies because it wound up on BitTorrent, and they were suing, to have it taken down. And one was the original production company, which foreclosed on the film because it didn't make enough money at the box office. They spent allegedly $5 million making it, and it worldwide gross was $8 million, which is $8 million too much. And the finance company, which foreclosed on it, was also suing to have it taken off BitTorrent. And I'm shocked that anybody would have even wanted to watch this damn thing. So if there has ever been a movie, in my mind, that meets our little motto, we watch movies so you don't have to, this is it. What a piece of garbage. And it doesn't even fulfill the premise of what it's supposed to be. Yeah, there's some scenes that are really rough, but it takes you forever to get to them. Just, oh my God, just what a piece of garbage. Eli Roth has done a lot of really lousy movies because, like Hostel is another one of the torture porn movies, but at least you can care about the characters. and I'm not a particularly big fan of it, but it's decent and it does what it's supposed to do. Hostel 2 is awful because you don't care about the characters and it's just more of the garbage. So just go find an old VHS tape of Faces of Death. You'll be much happier. Do not, under any circumstances, stream or download, for God's sakes, the Green Inferno. Wow.
You brought it up. I'm going to paraphrase Ed Byrne, who I mentioned a little while ago, because he has a bit on Hostel and Hostel 2, which was basically Hostel 1, if you're not familiar with the storyline, was men being taken hostage in a bunker in Eastern Europe and tortured to death. Hostel 2 is women being taken hostage in a bunker in Eastern Europe and tortured to death. So Hostel 3, look out hermaphrodites. Jeez. So you see, there's something to take away this week. Watch some of Ed Byrne's comedy. If I don't know if Ed Gamble has a special yet or not. He should. He's very funny as well. Ed Byrne's got a few. You can get them from Amazon, I think. I think he's got 5 now, and weirdly, 2 of them are only available from Amazon streaming.
They must have bought them. Cool.
There you go. He's Irish. You'll get used to the accent. So, that's what we've... I want to ask you this about Green Inferno, because I just now looked it up, and there are 3 clips that came up.
Yeah.
I get the first 2. But if they're taken captive by cannibals...
Yes.
Why is there a scene where they feed a guy to ants? Because that just seems to me like, oh, he doesn't look like he tastes good. Let the ants eat him.
I think they did that. And my only thought is, well, because they did some foreshadowing on that because they were talking about, oh, this is one of the rites. And I think the reason they did that was to tenderize the meat. I'm serious. Because that's the guy that they later chop into pieces and roast up. Wow. Even though they also do that with other people, but not as graphic. So. Oh
wait, and we can tie it into the other stuff we've mentioned. This guy has a beard.
Woo! He does have a beard. Yeah, the scene where the priestess of the tribe pulls out his tongue and eats it, and pulls out each of his eyes and eats them while the guy's alive. Yeah, very very choice. So I'm sure those clips are on YouTube. So if that's your thing, it's like, yeah, you can watch that 42 seconds and you'll be happy. But oh my God, what an ineptly created film. Yeah. So yeah, our takeaway this week: don't watch anything. Yeah, watch Ed Byrne's. Actually, you know what? Green Inferno is not in theaters. Ed Astra is not in theaters. Therefore, it is perfectly safe for me to tell you this week to get out and go see a movie.
Captain, we're losing power in the warp engines.
I think we should be leaving now.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
And on that unusually harmonious bombshell, it is time to end.
I am very disappointed!
Man, we have a weird job.
It's shameful, but it's a living.
And like that, he's gone.
Darn, that's the end.